How?
I'm a teacher
So?
of foreign languages. If you had listened every time I opened my mouth, you would have known and you wouldn't have had this problem. Hello, I'm Audrey, a teacher responsible for not one, not two, but a whopping 15 sections, each brimming with around 40 students. Let me tell you about the day I have never been more thankful for my low paying profession because it saved my life. It all started when I was sitting in the living room grading my students' exams. I just finished eating and realized that Matthew still was talking to his mother on the phone. They have been on it ever since this morning, and their conversations were endless. At first, I smiled to myself, thinking it was sweet he was close to his mom, but as time went on, I noticed just how clingy he was with her. Hey babe, do you want to take a break from that call first and eat your lunch?
Huh? What was that? Yeah, no, I'll eat later. I'm just attending to something right now.
I sighed inwardly, feeling disappointed at my husband's actions. It wasn't the first time he had brushed off my attempt to connect with him. I knew his relationship with his mother was important, but sometimes it felt like I was competing for his attention. I often find myself holding back from sharing my thoughts and experiences with him, knowing that he wouldn't fully understand. I couldn't help but wonder why he was so focused on that he is now unable to show genuine interest in my life. It felt like I was talking to a child that misses his mother too much instead of a husband. As the weeks passed, I couldn't shake the feeling of being sidelined in Matthew's life. It seems like his world revolved around his mother and his interests, leaving little room for me and our family. The strain on our relationship was becoming more and more evident, and I couldn't help but wonder about its impact on our child, Ali. Like when I received an invitation from our child's school for an awards ceremony where they were going to be recognized for their academic achievements. Hey Matthew, the school is having an awards ceremony for our child. Our daughter is getting a medal for her hard work.
Yeah, wow, that's great, I guess.
I know, Ellie is very excited about it and it would mean the world to her if we come and support her. It's going to be tomorrow at 6 p.m. at Starlight Ballroom.
Okay, noted.
He glanced up briefly, but then his attention returned to his phone. I doubt he actually heard the details of the event, and I don't think he will actually make an appearance. The day came, and I was right. He didn't come. I couldn't believe how he would miss such an important milestone in our child's life. I knew how much our child had been looking forward to having us there. I couldn't erase my memory of the look on Allie's face as she cried when she realized her father is nowhere to be found. When her name was called to the stage, she proudly walked up to receive her award, but as she stood there looking out onto the crowd, there was disappointment in her eyes. I wanted to hold her close after, but I knew I couldn't fill the void of her father's absence. Mom, where's Dad? I want to show him my award. Why isn't he here? I honestly don't know, sweetheart. I told him all the details. Maybe he had some emergency to attend to. I'm so sorry, honey. Allie nodded and went silent. I could see the hurt in her eyes. I don't know what's the important thing that Matthew had been exerting all his time and energy for. Every time I see him, he's always on his phone, still talking to his mother about something I have no knowledge about. There was also that one evening when we sat down for dinner, the lights suddenly went out. I let out a frustrated sigh as I fumbled around the darkness, searching for candles and matches. Matthew, did you remember to pay the electricity bill? I told you before how the due date for our bills was near, and they may cut it off if we didn't pay on time.
Oh, right. I'll take care of it tomorrow. Just be quiet because my mother's on the phone.
I rolled my eyes at Matthew's habit of neglecting responsibilities. No matter how many times I remind him, this is becoming a major source of frustration for me. The following day, as I prepared to take a shower, I turned on the water only to find out there was none. Matthew, did you forget the water bill too? How many times do I have to remind you about our bill's due dates? We have discussed this behavior of yours too many times. When will you listen?
Oops, my bad. Totally my fault.
Matthew's lack of concern was unbelievable. How could he be so careless about such basic responsibilities? It was like he lived in his own little world, oblivious to the consequences of his actions on our daily lives. If you think his irresponsibility ended there, you're wrong. Oh, how I wish it ended there. But then one afternoon, as I returned home from work, I noticed an eerie silence in the house. Our fish tank, which usually provided a calming background noise, was oddly quiet. My heart sank as I approached the tank and saw our beloved pet fish floating lifelessly on the surface. No, 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 Matthew, I told you to feed the fish before we left the house.
Oh, I forgot. Did you even remind me? I told you to remind me.
I did countless times. Our poor fish had paid the price for his negligence once again. It may seem like a small thing for some, but it was another example of his inattentiveness and absent-mindedness that took away his ability to take responsibility and take care of the things and people that matter to us. He's always just looking at us with nonchalant eyes as if we were the least of his priority and we were at the bottom of his list of concerns. No matter how much this attitude and behavior of my husband hurt me, I can't help but be thankful for it. As it turns out, it became the key to saving my life. One evening, as I was finishing up some work at home, Matthew approached me with a serious expression on his face. He finally paid attention to me without me having to initiate it. A rare occurrence, truly. The sudden change was definitely new, so I gave him my full attention.
Hey, Audrey, my mother is coming over tomorrow to talk to you about something important.
I raised an eyebrow, curious about what this could be about. Is this finally the time he's going to let me on what his mother and he has been talking about? Is he finally sharing the details of their lengthy conversations that I felt so out of place of?
Just remember, try your hardest to listen to what she says, okay? And do as she says. She loathes disrespect and she can be extremely scary when she's upset. Trust me, I've seen that side of her and let me tell you, it's not pretty.
That's a bit weird, Matthew. I don't understand why I need to listen to everything she says. I'm an adult, not a child. I have my own mind and opinions. I'm not going to be a doormat just because she does not approve of me.
I know, but just this once, can you do it for me? It'll make things easier for both of us, especially you, simply being a teacher and not earning a lot. My mother already looks down on you hard. Can you really effort to get on her bad side? No, right? Now obey.
His words stung and it was highly offensive. I felt frustrated and hurt, but I couldn't do anything but suppress it. I didn't want to cause unnecessary family drama or tension between us three. Besides, it wouldn't kill me if I did it for both of them just this one time. Reluctantly, I agreed, but deep down, I couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. Why do I have to appease his mother and silence my own feelings and values? The next day, as Claire arrived, I greeted her politely and tried to be as accommodating as possible. She had a stern expression and I could feel her scrutinizing me as we talked. She began talking about various things from family matters to her expectations of the future. As I listened, I couldn't help but feel like I was being judged and assessed. It was as if she was testing me to see if I was worthy of her son, but like she's already made up her mind about it. As we sat in the living room, I noticed Matthew heading to the kitchen to prepare some tea. I tried to cater to a typical mother-in-law standard, which is a woman who's great in the kitchen and assists her husband with everything. So I thought of offering Matthew some help, but before I could stand, Claire sternly insisted that I remain seated. I was going to help Matthew with the tea. No need. Sit back down. He's a grown man. He doesn't need any petty help. It's just tea after all, darling. It was odd, but I complied with her request, not wanting her to feel disrespected. When Matthew returned with the tea, they both began speaking in broken Spanish.
Sí, seguro veneno su.
I grew pale with fear, not because they were speaking a foreign language that I couldn't understand. I understand them perfectly, but because of what they said. Claire asked if Matthew already mixed it in the tea, and Matthew replied that he already did and that he was sure it will poison me. This was so alarming and sent shivers down my spine. Is this why they have been on the phone 24/7 every day of the week? This was what they have been talking about, they have been planning about. I am so disappointed in myself for not knowing better and letting this slide before. I took a deep breath, trying to steady my nerves. My mind raced with thoughts. I knew I had to be cautious and play along as if I understood nothing. It was as if my knowledge of Spanish had become my secret weapon, giving me an advantage in this dangerous situation. Every fiber of me urged me to protect myself from their deceitful plot. I didn't know you guys can speak Spanish.
Oh, yeah, we can. Didn't I tell you that before? I must have. You should have been paying more attention to what I said to you, Audrey.
He's the one to talk, and he never told me, by the way. Terrible lie.
Anyway, my mother just asked if the tea tastes good, and I said, of course, they are. Do you want to take a sip?
Actually, I'll have it later. I'm not in the mood for tea right now. What's the matter with you? Just drink it. It's not a big deal. We continued to talk. My mother-in-law and husband kept glancing at the tea, evidently growing more and more impatient with my refusal to drink the tea. Te beberásla! Te beberásla! Claire commanded Matthew to make me drink the tea.
Hey, my mother's feeling disrespected. She thinks you're a bad wife for not drinking the tea I made. Go ahead.
Te lo bebecía, Lalo. Claire said she will make him drink the poisonous tea if I didn't drink it. Out of panic, that's when Matthew succumbed to extreme measures. Honestly, with that threat, I can't blame how he reacted. Matthew took a cup of tea and brought it nearer to my face. He used his other hand to pry my closed mouth so I would ingest the drink. I smacked the tea away, the cup breaking into fragments on the floor. Hablo español. I shouted that I speak Spanish. Claire and Matthew froze, their faces turning pale as the reality of their mistakes dawned on them.
How?
I'm a teacher?
So?
Of foreign languages? If you had listened every time I opened my mouth, you would have known and you wouldn't have had this problem. Claire and Matthew exchanged guilty glances, realizing the severity of their actions. I had outsmarted them using my profession to turn the tables on their dangerous plan. They had underestimated me, assuming I was oblivious of their schemes. But now their secret was out in the open.
What? You must have misunderstood. Our accents were terrible. We didn't do anything. Here, I'll prove it to you.
Matthew has always been terrible under pressure. So desperate to prove their innocence, he absent-mindedly poured poison tea into his cup and drank it. Matthew, what are you doing? That's poisoned. Claire smacked the cup away from his mouth, but she was too late since the cup is now empty. See? By the way, you both would fail if you were in my class. Next time you plan to poison someone, don't rely on Google Translate for your little schemes. Your Spanish was terrible. With that, I walked away, leaving Claire and Matthew to confront the consequences of their actions. I knew that I had to protect myself and put an end to their toxic behavior. From that moment on, I prioritized my own well-being and stand up against anyone who tried to take advantage of me. I found my voice as I used a different language, and I wouldn't let anyone silence it again. As the days passed, Matthew's health deteriorated rapidly, and he was rushed to the hospital after experiencing severe symptoms from ingesting the poison tea. In the hospital, Claire was beside her son, filled with guilt and worry about how their plan backfired. Matthew eventually recovered from the ordeal, but our relationship was irreparably damaged. I couldn't forgive him for what he had done, and I knew it was time to let go and move on. The divorce was a painful process, but I made sure I got full custody of our daughter Allie. We emerged from it stronger than ever. I never thought I would feel grateful for Matthew's disinterest in my career and assumptions that I was just a teacher. My identity as a foreign language teacher had saved me from being completely blindsided by their evil plans. Cheers to a life free from poison, and may I never have to drink from that cup again.